Hi everyone, I'm Angie. I'm VP of Sales and Marketing at CROING, a women-founded and women-led creative agency. Today I'm thrilled to welcome you to another edition of our newsletter, Women Who Network, Stories of Connection and Success. As I always say, networking has played a key role in my career, and I have found through many conversations that it is an area that many women still don't feel confident in or need a little push to be encouraged to explore further. So at CROING, we're motivated to inspire and empower professional women to feel more confident in networking. We believe that by sharing stories and experiences, we can encourage more of them to grow, connect, and grow together. So I'm super excited to introduce our special guest today, Kelly Montoya. Thank you so much for joining us and for being part of this initiative. I'm confident that your story will motivate many women to embrace networking and with more confidence. Please let us know a little bit more about you and introduce yourself to the community, Kelly.
Of course. Hi, Angie. Thank you for having me here today. Really excited to chat with you and share a little bit more about my story and tips for overcoming, networking hurdles and, shining in a room. My name's Kelly Montoya. I'm head of partnerships for Venture Miami. Venture Miami is the City of Miami's economic development office focused on tech and innovation.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to share how we know each other with Kelly. We've been working together, our agency, CROING and Venture Miami, as their social media agency, and it's been great. On past editions of the newsletter, I've mentioned Venture Miami because they organize events and networking events and different types of amazing initiatives to develop networking in Miami, especially within the tech community. So it's really great to be able to talk with you because you're part of this community building space. So thank you again for coming. And the first question is, how has your approach to networking evolved throughout your career?
That's a good question. And so I can dive deep into this maybe on two levels. On a personal level, I think that I've been a little bit more intentional about the type of networking events that I focus on and actually accept an invitation to. I found early on in my career when I was just trying to meet people, I would go to these open networking events and they were daunting. Like it took a lot to be in the room. And then when you're in the room, you feel like maybe you don't belong or that you don't know enough, or you kind of second guess why you even went. And really from there, I was like, okay, I don't want to feel this way when I go to networking events. And then I just started kind of really curating where I would go, right? Like who's going to be in the room? What is my purpose? And then now where I'm at, I love like a curated small dinner. I will say yes to those 100% of the time. There's nothing like sitting, and sharing a meal with somebody, maybe a glass of wine, even if you go in as a stranger with them, at the end of that night, it was completely worth it. You'll know these people at a different level. So I say no to big events and I say yes to small curated events where I know that I'll have an opportunity not to just be like, hi, how are you? My name's Kelly. What do you do? I think that transaction is exhausting. And if there's an opportunity to sit with somebody and really get to know their story, ask them questions, listen to them, and not having to pitch yourself or listen to their pitches, it creates really a beautiful environment to cultivate, one, to get to know them, and it gives you kind of a springboard to continue cultivating that relationship with them, right? You learn about their interests, you learn about what they're working on, and you really try to find ways to kind of collaborate and help them. And I think that's what's special about an intimate setting is that, when you meet somebody, you tell them who you are, they tell you who they are, and you're not going to immediately find what it is that you're going to do together, right? It's more like, okay, let's stay in touch, and you remember what they told you. And then while time goes on, maybe you send them an article that can help them on what they're working on, or you think about another event that can help them, and then you keep being top of mind, right? So for networking events, that smaller approach, I think it's kind of like planting a seed, right? That first day you meet them, you plant the seed. You really just kind of get to know them, and then throughout time, you're watering that plant, right? Watering. And then one day when you go look, and this is for every single event, right? Each event you go to is just one seed, but you water all of them. And then one day you go and you have a whole garden, right? And that's your network. But that first day, you're just planting the seed. and letting it grow.
No, I love that, Kelly, because of course it can be daunting, as you said, to imagine the word networking as being part of a huge event where you need to connect with everyone. So we're here as well to debunk that thought of networking being this huge thing and turn it about community and think of it as community building, understanding your interest and their interest and making it go both ways, like you helping other people and other people helping you. And I think it's really important that you just said that, because it's not only about the first event or the first meeting, it's all about following up, understanding each other's goals and contributing to that in order to really build a network. So it's really cool what you said. So what strategies do you use to establish genuine and meaningful connections at networking events?
That's a good question. So from my years of experience of going to networking events, I have pretty much created a little bit of a strategy for even just walking into the room. And this is how my approach goes, right? So I'll get to the event, I walk in, and usually that point where you walk in, I try to avoid trying to talk to anybody there or staying there, because that's the point where everybody enters the room and everybody's scanning the room to see what their next move is, right? So if you try to strike a conversation right there, you're going to catch somebody kind of off guard and they're still trying to get their bearings. They're trying to understand and see what's going to happen in the room. So what I'll do is I'll walk in, I'll take, I'll read the room, see where everybody's at. And I'll usually walk over to the bar area, right? At this point, maybe I'll grab, if I'm going to have a cocktail that night, maybe I'll grab one. If not, I will approach somebody that already has maybe a drink or a water or something in their hand, and they're a little bit more relaxed, right? Because now this person has made themselves that they've settled into the room, they're relaxed, and now they're ready to engage with somebody for a conversation. So that's usually where I'll go and I'll strike my first one, whether it's somebody just standing by themselves, or maybe there's a group that looks welcoming. Another thing I love about, or what I do about at networking events, is always remember, people are there to network and some people are nervous. Maybe they're feeling the same way you are, right? And I think it's so beautiful and important to see who else is kind of just wandering the room. And if you see them, welcome them in, open the circle that you're in and say, hey, come on, join us. Bring them up to speed maybe on what the conversation is and be like, hey, how are you? What's your name? Just people will always remember that person that was welcoming, right? Because nobody wants to just wander around and feel like they're lost and that they don't belong. So if you get the opportunity to open the circle, welcome someone in, and immediately you're going to stand out. You're being a kind, welcoming person, and that usually resonates with people. So it's always wait until people are comfortable. Do not approach them if they're like scanning the room looking for friends. If they seem nervous, let them settle in, and always welcome those that you see that are looking for someone to talk to.
That's beautiful, Kelly. And that opening the circle analogy is so important, and it's such a part of this initiative, because once you've been feeling more comfortable networking, like you and I can be in a bigger event or smaller event and all of that, there's always someone that maybe it's their first event, or maybe they're just starting networking in this specific city or in this specific community. So it's all about that with this initiative. And whenever you're start feeling more comfortable going to these events, just open the circle, invite someone else. And thank you so much for that, because it's part of what we're trying to do here. And Kelly, this question has brought a lot of amazing stories, specifically like the tagline of the newsletter is stories of connections and success. We've been getting amazing answers with this one, and I want to ask you, can you share a pivotal moment in your career where networking played a key role?
I would say networking is the key to your success overall. I can't pinpoint an exact moment, but I can say that every opportunity and every new kind of door that's open it's a culmination of cultivating all those relationships. So beyond networking, I think, that initial moment of meeting somebody in a room, it's just that first step. From there, it's all about how you cultivate those relationships. And it doesn't have to be, maybe you go to a room, you meet one cool person, and that day, maybe you think that wasn't a successful event, but it is. If that one person is someone that you continuously develop this relationship with, you keep them top of mind, maybe, and I have some strategies on how to cultivate this relationship. But then one day, this person may be the one that calls you and says, hey, Kelly, this role just opened up. I think you might be a fit. I know the hiring manager, you should apply. Some of the magic happens after those relationships have been cultivated, and you just never know where they're going to go. So that's why it's so important to just, beyond networking and meeting that one person, it's cultivating that relationship through years.
That's
really
amazing. That's amazing. And I have a funny story of how I got to you, Kelly. I'm gonna tell it right now because it's really fun. Eh, a couple of years before we started working together at CROING, we were looking for partners on different agencies. So we found this specific partner that was in LA, and I met with him once. He invited me to Soho House in LA, and we met and we chatted for 2 hours, and it was really, really fun. We talked about work, but we talked a lot of other things as well. And at the end of the conversation, right at the end, he told me, oh my God, I love what you guys are doing. You should be on Brief. And Brief is the platform where Venture Miami was looking for an agency on, and we applied and we ended up working together. So after that whole thing, I actually thanked the guy for letting me know about Brief. And obviously, I didn't know that it was gonna let us to work with the city of Miami, or that it was gonna bring us so many other clients. But I went to that meeting. It was really fun. We talked a lot, and it became a great point on the history of the whole agency. So it was really cool. And as you said, it was about a good conversation, and then following up with him, and also following up on his advice, because so many times we meet people and they give us a little bit of advice or recommend us to join in a specific community, and then we don't do it because we think that maybe it's not going to work or whatever. So following up on other people's advice is really cool. And also, having these amazing conversations, because you don't know what it will bring to your life and where it will lead. So yes.
Absolutely. And to add to that, my favorite thing about networking is that it's literally just listening to people, because, everyone is following, finding new trends or finding new platforms. With AI now, there's so many different cool things out there that we don't know about, right? So when you go to a networking event, listening to people honestly leads you to something else, right? And I'll give you a good example of one of my favorite things. And it was just kind of getting into cryptocurrency from people that I met at an event. At that point, I didn't know what it was. I was completely lost, but just listening to them, seeing how excited they were to watch their wallets go up and up and up. And I was like, oh my God, what are you guys doing? I need to know, right? And then from that community, they would send you tips on other things to get, right? So it's I just going to a networking event and listening and not trying to talk over people or get your point across, you might learn something that can be either life-changing or lead you to your next opportunity.
Totally. That's amazing. And do you have the most unexpected opportunity that came from a networking event or a connection that you can share with us?
Yeah, I would say it's just that, the friendships and opportunities that come from that event. I don't think there's one I can pinpoint, but again, it's more of the magic that happens after. And it's just because you went there, you met someone, and then months or years later, something cool is coming out. So, and I think that's just it's don't have this expectation that you're going to go to this networking event and your life's going to change that day. It's you just have to show up. The more you show up to things And the more you get yourself out there talking about what you are trying to accomplish, or, you just have to set your intention and your goals out into the ether. You have to speak them. You have to put them out there. Once you put it out into the universe, it gives it back to you. So you just have to show up and go.
That's amazing. And what advice would you give to women who are just starting their professional careers or hesitant to engage in networking?
So that's a great question. And I would say, without getting too deep, I would ask her, like, why is it that you're feeling this way, right? And I think you need to answer that question before you even go to this networking event, right? And is it because you feel like maybe you're not confident enough? Is it because you feel like you have imposter syndrome? What is it that is stopping you? And you have to work on that until that's no longer an issue. Because if you are feeling this, you're going to project that into the room. And that's not what you want. So you have to work on yourself first, and whatever that is, whether it's because you don't feel your best at that moment, or because you just don't feel like you know enough of the topic, you need to just work on that and then go. And then the other advice I would say is go get yourself a nice outfit, feel good, feel yourself, get ready, and then go, right? Because if you feel good, you're going to also portray that. So work on yourself first, figure out why it is that you don't want to go to this event, do some inner work, and then when you're ready, go. But you have to do it. You got to go for it. Don't sit on it. Just answer that question as to why you don't want to go and work on that.
Wow, thank you, Kelly. It was so helpful. And to follow up on that, I think the outfit thing, it might sound at first, or to some people, a little bit like, oh my God, is the outfit so important? And it is, because it can become even part of the networking approach of stuff. And you can get complimented on it, or you can give compliments or on anyone's outfit, and it can start a conversation. And also, if you feel yourself on what you're wearing, it's gonna be so much easier to portray who you really are and to make everyone understand your vibe. And it's so much cooler if you feel like you are yourself. And a good outfit, it's like an amazing starting point to, I love it.
I feel like $1 million when you
Yes.
feel you portray it, and people will be like, damn, that girl's $1 million. So it really does start with the outfit. And smell good, be there, just kind of like, you want people to see you. That's why you're out there.
Totally.
If you don't feel your best, stay home and work on it until you do.
No, that's amazing. And just about that, we just went to Cannes in June, and we had these amazing shirts that say "Wearing Latina Success," and I wore it the first day, and I had 5 people approach me, and what a wonderful shirt I had, and that the message was amazing and everything. And we were like, oh my God, I can't believe that this message pulled so many people towards us, and it was really, really cool. So yes,
love that.
definitely a good point to make on this newsletter. So thank you so much, Kelly, for sharing your incredible insights with us. It's truly empowering and inspiring to hear you and how networking has shaped your journey. To all of you listening, reading, or watching, remember, your network is your net worth. And stay tuned for more inspiring stories on our next edition of Women Who Network. If you want to be part of Propose Someone for this space, please email me to Angie@CROING.com. And until next time, keep networking and growing. Thank you.